Welcome to LSC, it's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have with me Mike Tribus, who is the new athletic director over at Hampton High School. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here because we're going to find a little bit about you, but you jumped right into a programs that over at Hampton High School that we're going to put you on the spot and see how good an athletic director you are. But I'm sure you've got a lot of experience coming in. But you grew up in Pennsylvania. This is not your home. But you started playing sports at a real young age.
Correct. Yeah. I was born and raised in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, until about 12 years old. But I started playing soccer when about 3 and 4. My parents put me in soccer early on. Ended up playing then t-ball, baseball, growing up until I was 12 years old. Then I moved to Johnson City, Tennessee.
Okay. Now you were about 12 years old when you moved there?
Correct.
Okay. So, and sports, you did sports the whole time? I mean, soccer, the only thing you played when you was in Pennsylvania?
No, soccer and baseball.
Baseball.
And then when I went to Tennessee, also basketball and baseball as well.
Right. And talk a little bit about the difference in what you saw in the programs you were in Pennsylvania and in Tennessee. Was there much difference in it?
Well, it was rec league, little league, and soccer. So it's very similar to Tennessee as well too. I mean, Tennessee was a little more of a rural area, so
right.
A little bit different in regards to that. But pretty much the leagues were the same.
Well, see, now your dad preacher, so that's the reason you moved.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, my dad was part of the Rock Church Fellowship in a full gospel church up in Pennsylvania, and then we moved to a Rock Church in Tennessee in Johnson City for a year. And then that led us to Virginia Beach, Virginia, where Rock Church was.
Right.
My dad was on staff there.
Okay. So was your parents real supportive of your sports?
Correct. Yeah. My sister and I. My sister's 2 years older than me. My father put us both in sports early on. My sister was a soccer player and softball player, okay. And he instilled that into us early on in our childhood, and we really fell in love with it right away.
Okay. Now, tell me the positions you played. You play baseball. What'd you play?
Shortstop and pitcher, mainly.
Okay.
And then, kind of when I went to high school, kind of just did a lot of different ones just to try it out, but mainly shortstop and pitcher.
Okay. Basketball, point guard, I bet.
Yes, sir. Yeah, not a center.
You're definitely not a center.
No, I'm vertically challenged.
But and in soccer, you were midfield?
A forward. We called it a forward, striker. But mainly up top.
Did you feel that you was able to take some of the skill levels from skills that you learned at one sport, transfer to the other sports?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, my dad, instilled in me competitiveness all along. I was always playing with my sister, fighting with my sister. She kept me my competitive edge pretty high. So I just wanted to compete and loved competing and loved to play the sport and just loved all aspects of it with the teammates and the coaches, and just loved to compete and obviously ultimately try to win. But along the way, we just enjoyed participating in sports.
Right. Talk a little bit about growing up. Now, you're in the Virginia Beach area? Mm-hmm. Is that where you grew up?
Yes, sir.
And what high school did you go to?
Rock Church Academy.
Rock Church Academy. All right. Now, were they in they're not in the VHSL, obviously,
no,
not public school.
Correct.
So competition-wise, what was that like?
Right. It was Virginia Independent Schools at the time. I think it was VIS. Now it's VISA. But we competed, with a lot of the private schools locally in the Hampton Roads area as well as across the state. So there was a lot of travel involved. But they did compete in state championships. We competed in basketball and baseball for those as well as too. But soccer, we didn't fare so well sometimes.
Yeah. Like so how was your teams other than soccer? Did you guys very competitive?
Yeah, baseball and basketball mainly. Mainly basketball at my school. It was a very small school. I only graduated with 14 students. So,
right.
But basketball was pretty competitive, and we ended up I think going to the semifinals my senior year in '94, and playing against some big talented schools. And we were kind of known as a little team that could in South Hampton Roads. We only had, I think, one member of the team was over 6 foot. Everybody else was under that, and we made it to the state semifinals.
Well, you must have been a scrappy team and pressing team, making a lot of points over turnovers and that sort of thing.
Possessions was the name of the game. Yep, right. For sure.
Now, you had a coach over there?
Yes, Mark Phelps. Mark Phelps was my high school coach who ended up moving on, went to Atlantic Shores for 2 years, and had Kenny Inge and Damon Thornton, who ended up going to NC State. And so he kind of went along there with Herb Sendek and was an assistant there for many years, and then moved on to Arizona State, and then was the head coach at Drake for the past 5 years, and is now the assistant coach at Missouri.
Okay, very good. Now, DJ Dozer's name came up.
Yeah, he was my senior year. He was my baseball coach at Rock Academy. He obviously went to Kempsville High School. Played for the Minnesota Vikings and also for the Mets organization as well too. Went on to Penn State and won the national championship. I think it was '86.
That always helps.
Yeah, but he was my senior year. He was my baseball coach, and until then we had our program. We had some good players and good athletes. I mean, ultimately we just had good athletes. It was the first time we really had a baseball coach that really kind of instilled the baseball techniques and stuff that we needed. And so it was
the fundamentals.
Correct. It was a thrill to have him as part of the program because I grew up a Penn State fan, being from Pennsylvania. So it was a thrill just to have him as my coach for sure.
And then you graduated and you went 1 year to CNU.
Christopher Newport, my freshman year, played fall baseball there, and found it very tough to go along with many other incoming freshmen to play baseball, and realize it's everybody's a high school all-star, so it was very difficult for me to.
All of a sudden, the competition level is a little different.
Right, it definitely was, and so I don't think I was really prepared for that in regards to that. So I took that year, the next semester, and went to Thomas Nelson.
Right.
And then I decided to go to Liberty University for my undergrad.
Okay, and up there you didn't play any sports, but you did a lot with intramurals.
Yeah, I played intramurals. Played basketball, softball, flag football. Just once again, I just love competing in sports and playing competitively with friends that we made at college, and just continue to compete.
And then you got your degree in
sports management.
So. Always been that, was that something that you, when you graduated, you always wanted to keep your hand in sports somewhere?
Right. Well, I think I started out in business. Quickly, found out that wasn't necessarily the exact
it didn't fit
career path I wanted to choose. But I went to a 101 sport management class, and I just kind of fell in love with that.
Okay.
It taught you like the many aspects and a lot of things that you can do within sports, and it kind of opened my eyes to that. And so it's something I definitely wanted to pursue.
All right. Now, did you do any coaching?
At that time, not at that time. I helped out a little bit at my old high school. We had an intramural program within the school, and I helped out with a lot of the elementary. I kind of volunteered my time with those. But at that time, I hadn't done much coaching until later on.
But then you went into athletic directors. I mean, you got a list of places you've been. But you were at Atlantic Shores, where you had some great teams go through, great athletes.
Right. Well, after undergrad, I went to NC State, did an internship there for the year in the athletic department there. Then ended up going on to grad school and started coaching a little bit.
Now you were at JMU?
James Madison University. I got my sport management, athletic administration master's degree in that. So, and while working in compliance, and also then I worked in the sports information office as well, I got some opportunities to do some coaching.
Talk a little bit about compliance. What was your duties?
Right. Well, I was an assistant to the compliance officer at the time. And, I kind of just looked over the phone records that coaches did, their practice logs, making sure that they were staying within the boundaries and the rules in regards to compliance. So I kind of helped them out, a lot of the filing, kind of intern type stuff. But I looking at legislation was tough. Yes. I definitely brought my lunch pail every day.
Right. Talk a little bit about the athletes that you had when you were, because you was 9 years at Atlantic Shores?
At Atlantic Shores for 9 years, 7 years as the athletic director. We had my first year as AD. Andre Dawkins was a freshman at the school at the time. And we had a great year that year. And then the next year, Stephen Pledger came his junior year. Stephen ended up graduating, going on to Oklahoma. He just finished up. Graduated last year, and Andre Dawkins is at Duke. He's a senior this year, so we had some real good teams that year, and we went to the finals. Lost in the state finals, but we had some really competitive teams.
All right, now you get the athletic directorship at Hampton. Mm-hmm. Talk a bit because a little network going on there, but the people you knew that were athletic directors knew you were looking to get into public schools.
Correct. Right. I was part of Eastern Virginia Athletic Directors Association, Nevada, there locally, which is in Southampton Roads and then also in the Peninsula. So, which encompasses all ADs, public and private, but mainly public schools. And so I kind of started gaining relationships with those individuals there, and knew that I wanted to pursue in this career. And so, professional development I was big on. And so, learning all those different things that I can be a part of. It was a great opportunity for me too. So I started networking with these individuals, not necessarily pursuing and saying, hey, I want to be in public school, but just knew, hey, I want to pursue this career.
Right.
And then one thing led after another, and so they just kind of knew, hey, Mike might be interested in such a position. So
Lee Martin was one.
Right.
Of them.
Beth Mayer kind of reached out to Lee Martin, who's at Kick at 10, and Dwayne Peters at Heritage, and also. But I first heard it from David Moss at Churchland High School, and said, hey, there's an opening there at Hampton. You might have some interest there. I said, sure, yeah, definitely. We'll give Beth a call. And I kind of knew Beth indirectly when she was at Kings Fork, and I went to grad school with Josh Worrell, who's the head coach at Kings Fork, and so we lived together at JMU. So he told me about her, and I kind of started a relationship with that, and kind of gave her a call and said, hey, it might be something I might be interested in.
Talk a little bit about your expectations of over at Hampton High School.
Right. Well,
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Not a problem. Big shoes to fill with the individuals that were there. Phil just has been there, and prior to that, Karen Hawley for I think 10 years she was there. So just coming in, just trying to get my feet wet, kind of introduce myself to the coaches, start building a relationship with those coaches, and learn that there's that trust there, and we know each other well, and I jump right in. I mean, you can see I get the Hampton shirt on. I got the red, I got the white. And so, I dive right in. I want to be a part of this program and want to be part of something special. So, met Coach Smith and Coach Brower and Coach Hamilton, those ones that have been there for a long time, and just trying to develop a relationship with them so they get to know me and know what I'm about. And so I want to develop something and be something that's bigger than me, obviously. And there's a great history, rich history there at Hampton for sure.
Tremendous.
And so I just want to build upon that. There's a great foundation there. I just want to build upon that and be a great resource for them, and really do all I can for the student athletes, because that's ultimately who our focus is on.
Right. Now, you talk about some of the coaches, and one of them that I think so much about is Walter Brower. Mm-hmm. And he hit 500 wins, and they gave him a basketball. Yeah. And I said, why is there not a banner in the gym? Right. So I asked your predecessor that. So
what was the answer?
No, we're working on it.
Right, but
I mean, this guy has.
Right.
I mean, he's been at Hampton High forever.
Right.
And he was at Hampton High when I was coaching over at Bethel.
Right.
And we're talking way back in the early 70s. Right. So Walter, has done it a lot with them. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody else.
Sure.
Coach Mike Smith is legendary.
Right.
And Hamilton.
Right.
Been with the track program forever.
Right.
So you've got some great personalities and coaches over there.
Right.
And I just, as in athletics and as a observer, I like to see these guys get the recognition.
Right. And I think all these coaches, like you said, in their history, I mean, they're not seeking that. But
I know they're not.
But at the same time, I think it's something that the school should do, and city recognize those individuals for their hard work and what they've done, because coaches aren't in this. High school coaches are not in this for the money, because it's not there. All right, it's because they love the sport and enjoy what they do and partake into kids' lives. And so, definitely would like to see different things, like your suggestion. With regards to their
just a little thing.
Oh yeah, I think those little things go a far way.
And they know
coaches.
that they're appreciated.
I agree.
think that makes a big difference.
I agree with that.
We're going to wrap this thing up, but talk a little bit about what you bring because of your experience in sports to the athletic directorship over there at Hampton High.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm coming in, getting my feet wet a little bit with a lot of different, nuances when it comes to private school to public school. But like I said, I just want to build upon the foundation that's there. I mean, ultimately, when our focus is about the student athlete and preparing them for college, academically they're getting prepared for college, whether they go or don't go. So athletically, I want to prepare these kids whether they go or don't go. So once again, they can be prepared for that. So when they get there, they're prepared for it. So not like me when I get there and I'm like, man, this was not what I expected. Right. That they can understand and say, there's a level of professionalism here. There's a level of experience that they've gotten, and an expectation that, hey, I'm going to be able to make it because they're getting all these things here at the high school level, and hopefully I can bring that to the table and through my experiences to allow them to do that.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, Mike Tribus. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Till next time.